Today we're going to do some examination on a fake gold eagle that came in. The first clue is it's got sort of a cartoony look to it. It doesn't quite have the right luster. It's sort of dead and dull looking. But when they're in a flip in plastic and they come to you, they can look absolutely great at first. And if it's a quick transaction, you can buy these things and have no idea. These are one of the really well made ones. The weight is very close to being perfect. When you do a test on a Sigma machine, they actually come out okay when you put them. Well, they look like they're going to be okay, but then the Sigma, because it uses a radio signal that bounces through, shows an arrow to the right because there's something else going on in the machine. XRF, this is one of the few that's tricky enough that on XRF it'll actually fool it. It'll actually show that it's 22 karat gold with the correct alloy from an XRF, which is what's terrifying about it. So a lot of the traditional tools people use will show, okay, this is good or this is bad. Sometimes we'll find these things in holders, but one of the quickest, easiest, dirtiest ways to solve the problem, and I'm going to hand the phone here to you so I can do this. When you have a real coin that's struck, and it's not the exact, I don't have a gold eagle in stock right now, but when you have a genuine coin and you put it on the tip of your finger like this, you hear that ring. There's a tonal quality. It is struck material. When I do it to a silver eagle, it is a very similar ping. You have a ring like a bell, right? It's a beautiful ring because the coin has been struck, so it's solid all the way through. Now, when you have something that's filled here, and we'll break this apart in a little while and find out what's going on with it, we take the fake and we try to ping it. That's what you call a dead ringer. No ring, completely dead, just this ugly thunk. Now if I change it over here, so this is your first line of defense against these things. It'll be absolutely accurate every single time. All you do is you hit the edge of it, it's not going to hurt the value of the coin, and it'll tell you exactly what's there. Next we will go ahead and cut into this and find out what's inside of it so people can be aware and have that line of defense. But the nice thing is you don't even have to use a piece of gold to ring that like that. You can use any piece of metal to ring it or to hit it. So I'll use a pair of pliers here. You just hear that dead dud thunk of nothing. It almost sounds hollow. So the next part of this video we will find out what the heck was in this thing. But again, the luster's weird, it's too thick, the weight is right, the gold content on the first 50 milligrams, or the first 50 microns into the surface is the correct alloy. It is defensible by use of a Sigma. It is absolutely defensible by use of a ring test, which is your cheapest, most economical way to test. If you have any other piece of metal and you have a finger to balance it on, you will be able to tell the difference. So we just took a bolt cutter to it and we noticed that this shell popped right off. So we have a gold shell and we have a core on the inside made of something else. So next we're going to rip that apart and we'll do an X-ray analysis on this and find out what's up with this. So now we're back. So what they did is they made something on the inside that is clearly not gold, and just like those little coin wrappers, they made something on the outside that is gold. So we obviously know that this material is going to shoot an X-ray gold. That's 22 karat. Let's check the back. Let's make sure they didn't get that cheap on us. The back is the same alloy. Let's see how many grams of gold we got blessed with coming back. So 4.8 grams of 22 karat. That's a couple $100 in gold at the current market at $1,800. So the good news is there's more than a 10th ounce of gold used in the manufacturing of these things. That's why the Chinese sell them for so much, because they actually have to cover that gold cost. Now let's find out what the heck core center's made out of. So it looks like it's a tungsten alloy. That platinum reading is part of the machine reading itself. Same with the iridium. They would not be nice and put those things in there. But when you're dealing with a heavy metal like tungsten, sometimes it doesn't show up completely on the alloy. But copper is probably what they alloyed in with it in order to make it soft enough to be heavy enough, because that guy weighs almost an ounce as it is, and is nearly the correct specifications for an eagle. And then we have this plating on the outside. It's a shell, but that's why it defeats the X-ray, is because it has this shell on the outside. So anybody that gets one of these things, you're not 100% screwed, because there's some value that you're getting back on these things. But when you see them, a couple things to look for. It appears that they are clamshelled together, and there should be a very small rim on the outside that would be visible under magnification that's a gap or a crack. Now, we did not look for that on this example, but now that we know that, on any future pieces we come across, you can loop and see if there's a gap between the coins now that we know how these things are manufactured and put together. So, a sneaky way of doing it. This is a great way of figuring out how they manufactured these guys and what to look out for, and how they made the metal soft enough to strike and put a clamshell over top of it. And that also explains why it has that hollow sound. I'm going to hand this back to him to see what happens when we ping the metal under here. Look at that. So if they could make that tight, you'd get the ping noise. But because it's not actually tight, it's not there. So they have a struck coin underneath a shell, which is why you have that dead sound, because it's literally a foil. So this is conclusive of our first educational video on this subject. Hopefully it gives people some information on what to watch out for and what to do when you get these things, so you don't get taken advantage of. But that's kind of scary. Unfortunately, if you end up buying one of these things for the full gold value, looks like you get a little more than 10% or 12% back, but that's why they're so expensive out of China. So you just got to be very cautious of these things. And that's all we have for today. Thank you.